Shall we start? Again, we'll be doing like we did in the last session because this is interview specific and I hope everybody knows the basics. So we'll just be taking up issues which were in news and what kind of questions might crop up from those kind of issues. So we will try to discuss that. It's basically oriented for your interviews. First thing that we'll discuss is UNSC reforms. This year you got a question also in the mains, important evergreen topic, and most of the bureaucrats who are sitting across the table for the interview, they are very much interested in this topic, UNSC reforms. So why, first thing is, okay, reforms, but why do we need a reform in UNSC? Come out with points. Why do we need reforms? One by one, yeah?
Adequate representation of different regions.
Adequate representation of different regions.
Failure of UN to resolve various conflicts across the globe, madam.
Across the globe.
Ever since its beginning, since establishment, it's just one time that reforms have actually taken place, and that too it was back in 1969. So it doesn't represent the contemporary realities in order to be more inclusive.
Okay. Any more comments?
More representative.
Okay. Yeah. When was UNSC formed? 1945 after World War II. So that time the world was unipolar or bipolar? And now the world is multipolar. The realities have changed. That time it was mainly dominated by the West. The West was there which won the Second World War and the Allies. So they got the seat in UNSC. But now it was formed in 1945. Now it is 2016. So the whole reality across the globe has changed. So there is a need for change in the UNSC. So what are the agendas of change? Change की हम बात करते हैं. Supposingly they ask you, okay, UNSC change should be there, reform should be there. What are the main agendas? Can you point out? Veto power is one issue. Then change in the structure of permanent members. What else? Wider representation, geographical representation should also be there. Right now, do we have someone from Africa there? We don't have any representation from Africa. So the main agendas, if you want, you can write it down crisply. If they ask you, just crisply you have to reply. Categories of membership, question of veto power, regional representation, Security Council, General Assembly relationship. These are the agendas on which UNSC reforms are to take place. These are the agendas. Okay, now the next question, if they ask you, okay, these are the agendas, now the whole world has changed, geopolitical, economic, strategic, every equation has changed. So what is the issue? Why it is not happening? क्या problem है? क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? If they ask you, then why it's not happening? There is no consensus. Like a bureaucrat, give the exact answer, because for reforms it has to be voted by 2/3 of the members of the this UN members. 2/3 of the members have to vote for it. Okay, that is there. But at the same time, veto power is also there. 2/3 member बोलते भी हैं, but the permanent 5 can use the veto power, and they don't want the changes. So that is the issue right now. And what happened? September 2015, approximately first time many of the countries have submitted a written suggestion for bringing in the changes. But China, US, Russia, they did not participate. And even China is against India. Why China does not want India to come? Okay, who are the new members who are proposed? G4. Who are Brazil, Japan, Germany and India. Okay. Now if we see 1 to 1, if they ask you who is opposing Brazil? Why? Latin American, okay. They want Latin American, what they want? Why they are opposing?
They want Latin America
They want their representation.
from Asia, China is
Who is opposing India? China and Pakistan. Then who is opposing Japan? China and South Korea. It's not only China. Okay? Who is opposing Germany? Okay. Who all are supporting India? If they ask you, अच्छा India को कौन-कौन? Britain ने UK. Use the right term. When you are in the interviews, the people who are sitting are bureaucrats. Use the right term, okay? UK. Because कई बार रशिया बोलने की जगह USSR बोल देते हैं, जो कि अब exist ही नहीं करता है. So in the interview, please mind it. Use the correct terminology. Okay. So there is, okay, these are G4 who are aspiring to be members of Permanent 5. There is also a group which is opposing it. What it is called? Coffee Club or Uniting for Consensus. Coffee Club बहुत easy terminology है, but there is another terminology which is Uniting for Consensus, and this group was developed somewhere around 1990s. Italy, mainly Italy, and then Pakistan is there, Mexico, Egypt, many countries are now there, but basically this is a group headed by Italy. Why? What does it say? इसने कुछ प्रपोज किया, अगर ये अपोज कर रहा है, supposing they ask you, has it proposed something? Why it is opposing? They said instead of going for changes in the permanent representation, right now non-permanent members are 10. So instead of 10, make it 20. Every 2 years, they can be re-elected. If their geographical group want them to continue, they can continue. So there is no need to bring any kind of change. Supposingly Asia चाहता है कि इंडिया रहे, तो हर 2-2 साल के बाद रहता रहे 100 साल तक. So there is no need to change the permanent thing. They are saying they should go for change in the non-permanent member. And further they are arguing कि already because P5 is there, there is a disparity between people who are inside P5 and people who are outside P5. So they are saying if we increase the membership of P5, further increase it, then there will be further disparity will be expanded. So that is also one argument they are saying कि अभी इतनी disparity है, supposingly if you include more, then disparity might be widened and it will have a cascading effects on other countries. So that's why they are saying instead of going for P5, we should go for non-permanent members. Okay, now the very genuine question, on what grounds India is demanding for membership of UNSC? See, points are many, but when you are answering there, it should be in a sequence. The points which are more dominant should be first, rather than the points ये भी है वो भी है. So first thing is India is the largest democracy. See, interview is a personality test. You are aspiring would be civil servant. So you should talk like them. First thing is India is a biggest democracy. Second thing is one of the fastest growing economy. Third thing is we are one of the largest contributors of UN peacekeeping force. अगर हम action का, if we are into action, then why we should not be there in the policy decisions also? Actions are taken, policies are made by UNSC, and those policies are implemented. Supposingly if there is a peace thing or something, war where we need peace keeping force, तो action हम कर रहे हैं, तो हम decide क्यों नहीं करें? So that is another logic. Another thing is
less representation of the developing world, like.
Less representation of the developing world. Another thing is India is also home to one of the largest number of Muslims, and with this thing for negotiation with Middle East, India can be, because India has a friendly relation across the globe. So with Middle East, India can be a good negotiator. This is another logic which India is saying. Why should India be there? Okay, the very next question is, okay, if India is, there are other reasons also that everybody knows, but these are the main reasons. Then just instead of only China, India can also be a better negotiator. We already have a good relationship with Middle East countries. Okay, now the next obvious question is, चलो मिल भी जाती है हमें membership, so how would it benefit India?
First of all, symbolism, being in the group, being in the B5 group.
See, in the last class, I talked about the changed objectives, more focused objectives of our national foreign policy, which the last point I gave was to have a global presence. So that is one thing, we will have a global presence. और क्या होगा? UNSC will be a more democratic setup. India will be representing what? India will be representing developing countries. So their concerns will be taken care of. West का जो hegemony है, hegemony of the West will be declined. Can you give some example? Okay, then invasion of Iraq. Western powers ने decide किया and they invaded. So this kind of, supposingly if India is also there, then there will be, the Western powers cannot just take decision for their benefit, and if they ask you, give some example. So you can give one of these examples. Then China has a veto power, which China might use in Asian perspective. So if we also get a permanent member, then uska veto power thoda dilute to hoga. That will be beneficial for India. Otherwise what happens, any decision India takes, China might veto it. So if we also get the equal this thing, right, then it will be, China's veto power will be diluted. And South Asia has been a victim of various kind of wars, terrorism, extremism and all those things. So if we have a member from this region, then of course it will be beneficial for overall, for the whole globe. So this is a very like obvious kind of interview question. They generally ask, okay, UNSC reforms hona chahiye, kyun hona chahiye, what will be the benefit for India, why it is not happening when everybody wants a representation, why it is not happening. Waki basic, what is coffee club, what are their arguments, thoda jo bhi hai basic, try to brush it up before your interview. Like you talked about World Bank and IMF. The second thing we will be discussing is redrawing of international financial structure. Why do we need to bring reforms here also? International financial structure, mainly Bretton Woods twins, they are called World Bank and IMF. Where is Bretton Woods, by the way? ऐसे ही छोटा छोटा गूगली क्वेश्चन भी कई बार पूछ लेते हैं सर. दे आर ब्रिटेन वुड ट्विंस. ओके, वेयर इज ब्रिटेन वुड? USA. Okay, so why do we need a change? Emerging economies. Okay, domination of the West.
When they proceed with any loan, there are a lot of strings attached to it, so at least that could be relaxed in the new financial architecture.
Okay, any more? Okay, just I'll give you like the World Bank and IMF, इनमें reform की बात कर रहे हैं, and the new banks are New Development Bank, AIIB. Now think why there is a need for change. First is there is a discriminatory attitude of West towards developing countries.
After the global financial crisis, these institutions are not do not have enough resources at their disposal to cater to the needs of the developing countries.
Yes, infrastructure, Asia infrastructure, we'll discuss that also. So first thing is their West has a very discriminatory attitude. Then see the World Bank and IMF, उनमें voting का जो rights होता है, it is based on which pattern? Contribution. Huh? And otherwise if you see the BRICS group, how much do they have population wise वो कितने बड़े हैं? They are almost 50% of the world population, and global GDP में भी 1/5, they represent 1/5 of the global GDP BRICS, but the voting right is only 11%. Is it justifiable? Only 11% voting rights are with BRICS countries, so that is why reforms are also being stressed upon. Then informally there is a agreement. आप चाहे रिकॉर्ड निकाल के देख लो, it's always the World Bank is most of the time, maximum times headed by US national and IMF by a European. At times what happened, like there are instances where political issues have dominated in the process of giving loans instead of economic and development issues. Can you give example? Like when 1998 we tested our nuclear weapon, loans were denied to us. So that is another reason, that is why we are saying we need reforms. And then what is happening right now, because these economies, Asian economies are growing, there is a growing demand for infrastructure development, and for this infrastructure and development we need more of the funds which they are not being able to provide. So that is why we are having a specific bank for infrastructure development. Say for example like IMF has around quota allocated for infrastructure is somewhere around $10 billion US dollars, but infrastructure के लिए उनके पास they can lend up to 10 billion, but our demand is going to be somewhere around 2 to 2.3 trillion dollars per year by 2020. So there is a huge demand. If you want, you can write the figures. Our demand would be, developing countries would be requiring 2 to 2.3 trillion dollars per year by 2020. Another thing is which you might have observed also, अगर आप इकोनॉमी थोड़ा फॉलो करते हो, अब जो हो गया डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज, they are talking a lot about sustainable development. Of course sustainable development is required for developing countries also, but what they are doing is actually they have already exploited it and now they are talking about these things. So they are giving loans where they are also seeing the reports of NGOs. NGO pass करेगी कि whether it is environmentally friendly, whether this is sustainable, then only they are providing loans. Of course we also have to consider that, but at the same time हमारे ground realities क्या है? We need more thermal powers, nuclear plants in these areas, because जब तक हमें भी एक level तक आना होगा वेस्ट की तरह, तभी तो we can also talk like them also. So that is another issue, because वो funding clear नहीं कर रहे हैं and they are putting up these clauses. So these are the major bases on which there is a need to change the international financial structure. So now because of the need, two banks have come up. Supposingly they ask you what is, tell something about NDB, what is it? New Development Bank. Where is the headquarters and who is heading it? He is an Indian. Okay, now we talked about voting structure or quotas here. So how it is better in New Development Bank? Here no member country is having any veto power. वहाँ पे हम देते थे according to your contribution to the main fund. But here no one, every country, member country is getting equal one voting power and they don't have any veto power. And what is the basis in AIIB? Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank. Where is the headquarter? Beijing. Okay. So what is the authorized capital for this? $100 billion. So what is the voting pattern here?
26% voting right is with China, while the contribution is
On what basis? I am not asking the figures. On what basis?
Asian economies will have a bulk of the
It is based on the size of each member country's economy. It is a progressive step. Supposingly अगर हमारा contribution आज इतना है तो accordingly we are getting it. कल को हमारा contribution बड़ा होगा तो we will be getting more. Automatically changes will be brought in. So that is a new thing. It's not कि एक बार हो गया तो हो गया. That kind of a thing. It is more progressive that ways. China is having a share of 30.4%. India is having share of
7.5.
8.5.
Voting share of 7.5.
And Russia 6.7. Small questions at times they ask you ना अच्छा बात करते करते some other member will say okay, what is the voting percentage of India? Okay, share of India, sorry. So the top priority of these two banks will be infrastructure development.
What's the share? What's the figure? Share India share?
8.5 and Russia is 6.7. China is 30.4. I think you will be getting this material. उसमें शायद ये होगा. You will. So, and this, supposingly they ask you what is the benefit of having these banks. What are the benefits? First thing is it is bridging the developmental divide. They will be focusing mainly on your infrastructure, which is the need of the hour of the developing countries. Another best thing is 3 out of 5 permanent members are supporting this. कौन support कर रहा है? China, then UK and France. पहली बार हुआ है कि एशियन इसमें 3 out of 5 permanent members are sharing it. And then आपके G7 Group 7, are you aware of it? नहीं है तो देख लेना because I don't have that much of time to tell you. 4 out of 7 G7 members are also. This is basically for Asia. The question will, they might put a question across. Okay, this is basically for Asia. So what Europe has to do? Why they are supporting it? Why they are in the founding membership?
Mr. Asian economy is building high, so they also don't want to fall back.
They also want to take the first ride. USA, uski wish ke against, these people are supporting these banks. What was US reaction for these banks? Supposedly they ask you कि you say कि उनकी wishes के against भी कर रहे हैं. So what was US reaction to these banks?
US is addressing about the role of China.
So USA is apprehensive about the role of China, and second thing is it is saying कि China is using it to fulfill its strategic and political aspirations. So therefore its lending standards would not be as per the standards of World Bank and IMF. उनको लग रहा है कि वो मतलब ये बोल रहा है कि because it is using for its personal thing, so that is why इनके standard maintain नहीं होंगे. So this is one of the critics which US was saying. Now the question, another question is okay, bank खुल गया, सब कुछ हो गया. So what are the main doubts with these banks? World over global community में there might be certain doubts. ये कर पाएंगे, नहीं कर पाएंगे, क्यों नहीं कर पाएंगे? Financial stability, okay. Transparency, accountability, insufficiency of funds. Funds उतना ला पाएंगे कि नहीं? China might use it to influence others. Like example, it is also criticized कि जैसे World Bank ने काम किया, they might be doing like that. Because after what happened after your Cold War, during your Cold War era, what happened? The countries who supported USA, who towed down to the hegemony of USA, were getting funds like anything. Corruption हो भी रही थी तो that was not reported. A burning example is Congo. रीड अबाउट इट. कॉन्गो में उस टाइम बहुत मिसयूज ऑफ फंड्स हुआ था वर्ल्ड बैंक से, बट इट वाज जस्ट पुट अंडर द कारपेट बिकॉज those countries were towing down to the hegemony of US. So similarly, it is being criticized China might be using it as a tool of its foreign relations. It will also be lending down the line. It might also follow the World Bank pattern. It might lend to those who will be hedging down to the hegemony of, towing down to the hegemony of China. That is another thing. Another thing which is being very criticized or doubtful is China's ability to manage such a big fund, such a big bank. Time will only tell. Things at times in letter they are good, but actual spirit, practicality, whether it will happen, that we have to wait and watch.
Can we see the duplicity of the work since the Bretton Woods institutions?
Yeah, so supposingly they ask you a question. So how do you see these when we already have World Bank, when we already have IMF? Okay, then another small question might be, we have Asian Development Bank, we already have ADB. So why we are having these two new banks? It is dominated by Japan. Okay. Now the question is, how do you see these developments? आपका view देखो, interview is basically to know your personality, your viewpoint. If they ask you, how do you see the development of these new banks?
It's a good progressive step in which the developing countries and the economic realities would better be represented.
Yeah, so it is like you should give a balanced and a positive view. First thing is, it's a very good development. They are not competing with each other, rather they are complementing each other. How? Supposingly they ask you how, because World Bank अब जो है ना वो long gestation period infrastructure projects में कम loans दे रहा है, and our requirement is that only. So that is why you can say they are complementary to each other. Needs of the developing countries will be taken care of. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट, जो वो एनजीओ के रिपोर्ट का क्लॉज लगा देते हैं वो यहाँ पे नहीं होगा. बट देन यू कैन ऑल्सो से, बट एट द सेम टाइम वी हैव टू बी वेरी कॉशियस. इट शुड बी these banks should work in a very cautious, transparent, democratic manner, so that they don't turn into what these earlier bodies have turned into. अच्छा, IMF में भी कुछ रिफॉर्म्स हुए हैं. आर यू अवेयर? अगर पूछ ले कि IMF में व्हाट इज, हाउ मच इज द शेयर वोटिंग राइट्स हैव इंक्रीज फॉर इंडिया? 2.3 to 2.6%. बिकॉज वहाँ हम बोल रहे हैं वहाँ रिफॉर्म नहीं हो रहा है, बट अगर दे आस्क यू कि ओके देयर हैज बीन रिफॉर्म, व्हाट इज द वोटिंग right, how it has increased from 2.3 to 2.6, and for China it has 6% from 3.8%. Preparing for interview, just know the basics, know the facts and figures, pros and cons, and then try to give a balanced view as you write in your mains answer also. Whenever there is a question of analysis, critically analyze what you do. You write positive, you write negative, and then you give a balanced view. Now we will be doing strategic importance of IOR. What does IOR stand for? Indian Ocean region. Okay. What is so special about this region, IOR? If they ask you, okay, if they ask you a question like, tell something about IOR, why it is in news these days, what is its importance? So give me solid points. बहुत सारे point होंगे, but
2/3 of the global trade in oil that passes through the region, and half of the commodities globally also pass through this region.
Okay, 2/3 of the, what you said? Oil, crude oil. What else?
Sea lines of communication.
SLOCs. Okay, sea lines of communication. See, 51 coastal and landlocked states in Indian Ocean are there, with 26 Indian Ocean rim states. 26 Indian Ocean rim states are there. Then most important choke points, 4 important वहाँ पे strategic आपके excess waterways हैं. 4 important waterways कौन कौन से हैं? Malacca is there. Bab al Mandab is there. Where is it? Yemen. Okay. Then what is there? What else? State of Hormuz. State of Malacca. 4 हो गई. Why it is important? बाकी तो चीज़ें हैं, इतनी कंट्रीज हैं, 4 चोक पॉइंट्स हैं, मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग. एंड देन मेजर सी पोर्ट्स यहाँ पे कौन कौन से हैं? What are the major seaports? If they ask you what are the major seaports in this area, start from India. Chennai is there, Colombo is there, then Jakarta is there, Durban is there, Durban, South Africa, Kolkata is there, Melbourne is there, Mumbai is there, Richards Bay is there, South Africa. बिकॉज ये IR के पर्सपेक्टिव से आप देखो तो इसमें पोर्ट सिक्योरिटी, पोर्ट्स आप बताओगे 4 मेन चोक पॉइंट्स कौन से हैं, दैट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सी इट्स, आई ऑलवेज टेल माई स्टूडेंट्स लाइक who is asking you the question and what is the motive behind asking that question should be your answer. Supposingly if my mother asks me like what have you cooked, so I will just say okay I cooked this. Supposingly a doctor asks me what have you cooked, then might be something wrong, then I'll tell okay I cooked this बाकी तो घर में खाया था. And supposingly some government official is coming to me and asking me what have you cooked, might be preparing some data or survey, then I will say pulses rice. So who is asking you the question? It's not कि हम आपस में discuss कर रहे हैं. If UPSC member is asking a question, there is a purpose. It's not they come to there and just sit and चलो आज जो आ रहे हैं उनसे पूछते हैं. There is a purpose behind. So accordingly arrange your answers. That is more important. Same thing in your mains. Prioritize your answers. UPSC is asking you. In your interviews, members are asking you. So accordingly give the priority. किस point को किस angle से हमें पहले बताना है. अगर strategic importance है, then choke points are there, are important ports are there. Okay. You can add on. ठीक है? Why it is so important? Do we have economic point of view से बताओ क्यों important है? Do we have minerals there? Yes. What minerals are there? Okay. Gold. Do we have gold there? Do we have tin there? Yeah, minerals are there. Then strategically important from sea lane of communications, SLOC. More than 80% of the global trade passes through this route. 20% of the world's surface water. Now strategically its importance, 4 choke points are there. This is an area of conflict also. Can you name some conflicts यहाँ पे? Saudi, Yemen, Iraq. So conflict वाला zone है. जो भी conflict वाला zone होता है वो बहुत important होता है. Because spillover effect that can happen. That can disrupt you also. If something is happening in Sri Lanka, it might hamper us. That is why in Nepal we took that stamp. Because spillover effect होता है. So that is also there. And then almost every major country in the world is having their bases there. USA का कहाँ पे है? Diego Garcia. Then France is where? Djibouti. So every important country is having their naval bases there. Plus piracy incidents have also increased in these areas, Somalia and all those areas. Incidences of piracy has increased. Then another thing which India has to take into consideration is what China has done. China has used its soft power by providing loan, building infrastructure across this Indian Ocean littoral countries. तो उसने एक अपना सबके साथ एक अच्छा अरेंजमेंट बना रखा है. So that might be somehow might be trying to strategically enclose India. So that also India has to take care of. And then USA also have a policy, pivot to Asia. We have discussed in one of the classes, pivot to Asia. So that is also another concern. Those people are focusing on this area, so strategically it's very important. Okay, India के साथ, its name is Indian Ocean. So dominant position is India. That does not mean the whole ocean belongs to India, but of course, approximately 50% of Indian Ocean is within 100-mile arc. We have exclusive economic zones यहाँ पे जहाँ पे we can do fishing and other. Now the terms are blue economy, blue water economy. There is a difference. If you know it, good. If you don't know it, कुछ दिन पहले almost 20 days पहले आपके इंडियन एक्सप्रेस में एक बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल आया था. Those who are going for interviews, please find it out and read. So it is good for your blue economy, blue ocean economy, blue water, marine resources are there. And then we also like open sea mining. Are you aware of this concept? What is open? Why it is called open? Because वो किसी भी country का exclusive economic zone में नहीं होता है, वो open sea में करते हैं. And so India has also got rights to do open sea mining in this area. Our International Seabed Authority, ISBA, it provides these rights. So India has these rights. Sea lane of communication, कितनी सारी telecommunication की cables यहाँ से जाती हैं. In the last class when we were discussing about one belt one road, that time also we discussed कि underwater cables जो होती है, that is also very important. So our sea lane of communication passes through this, which is very important for our Digital India program, our whole of our government programs, NEGP जितने भी हैं, it is very important. Cyber attacks, cyber crime is happening, so we have to take care of our SLOCs. और इसके अलावा हम लोग यहाँ पे R&D भी करते हैं, research and development. Like recent like few months back we have done research on monsoon mission. So वो हमारे लिए एक R&D एक lab की तरह भी है. R&D is required for any developing countries. Then safety concerns. India, China, they might come anytime. And China, what happened with China? China ने वहाँ पे श्रीलंका में what has China done last year? अपने warships, अपने submarines वहाँ पे जाके खड़े किए थे. So that is also very important for us to take care of it. Then China has established a surveillance radar at Coco Islands. Coco Islands with the help of Burma. ये 1992 में ही चाइना ने वहाँ बनाया था. And China, we cannot ignore that China is investing heavily on its navy. That is why we have to be alert with respect to Indian Ocean region. त्रिकोमाली पोर्ट जो श्रीलंका का है, वहाँ पे चाइना ने अपने वॉरशिप्स खड़े किए थे, सबमरीन्स खड़े किए थे, इवन कराची में भी किए थे पोर्ट में. So we have to be aware, we have to be cautious. So that is why India should be aware or cautious about Indian Ocean region. Now the next question they might ask, what are the recent developments with respect to Indian Ocean region? बहुत सारी हुई है. If it is so important, तो हमारी recent developments क्या हुई है वहाँ पे? IORAC, okay. Think, did our Prime Minister visit these countries? Our Prime Minister has visited Mauritius, Sri Lanka, Seychelles, Maldives, all these areas. 2015 March, he visited. He started with I think Seychelles, then Mauritius, and then Sri Lanka. So we are also trying to have our diplomatic relationships. And पीछे अभी तक last month only in the current it was in the news that in Seychelles we have started operating. We have got the lease of certain island where we can have a surveillance radar. Which island is that? Assumption Island. And similarly there is Agalega Island in Mauritius, where also we are going to have a surveillance. This radars are there. So surveillance radar systems in Mauritius, Seychelles, Sri Lanka, Maldives, we are doing that. Now we are also having maritime sustainable economic development policy, because this region is a mine of good reserves. We have to develop our economy. यहाँ पे आपका resource बहुत है, fishing area है, so we are having a maritime sustainable economic development policy. Then we have also launched Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, जहाँ पे कि countries के naval chiefs they can come and share information, intelligence, all those things. Then very recently we have also initiated a trilateral security arrangement coordination at NSA level. NSA, National Security Advisor. Who is our NSA? Ajit Doval. Okay. So at NSA level हमने यहाँ पे talk शुरू की है between India, Sri Lanka and Maldives. This region also includes South Africa. Yeah. So हमने अभी क्या recent initiative हुआ है November या September when you were about to write your mains, Indian African Summit, we have started having more persuasive policy towards South Africa also. Middle East, Southeast Asia सबके साथ हमने अपने relationship strong करने की कोशिश, we are doing that. So these are the steps taken with respect to IOR. WTO में उसका बैकग्राउंड प्लीज थोड़ा पढ़ लेना, सारी राउंड्स पढ़ लेना, बाली, उरुग्वे, दोहा, read about it, just brush up. And why WTO is in news right now? We will be discussing those solar panel issue. Then Nairobi wala issue, and then
Bali peace arrangement.
Service sector, GATS. India is talking about TFA, Trade Facilitation Agreements in service sector. See, TFA in service sector, because service sector is one thing जहाँ पे इंडिया का dominance है. So these are the issues, agriculture issues का solution time के साथ हो रहा है, और हम भी we are also becoming a self-sufficient country. But at the same time, अब नए sectors में भी WTO में we are trying to assert ourselves, and that is your TFA. Even India is planning to have, India is trying to pursue for a visa within WTO countries for service sector, जैसे कि हमारा Schengen visa वगैरह होता है, people can go and work. So these are the issues which are more in news right now. So that we will discuss when we will be doing the Nairobi issue. उसमें ये issues आए थे. We will be doing that. ठीक है? So what is the current agricultural issue? Mainly 10% subsidy issue. Are you aware of it? 10% subsidy issue. What is it? Crisply tell me.
The entire subsidy should not increase more than 10% of the agricultural output. Keeping in mind the 1987,
The subsidy should never go beyond 10% of the agricultural output, total agricultural output of a developing country. So what is the issue? अब क्यों इस पे बात कर रहे हैं?
There are food stocks they tend to pile up, then we may, in fact, we have done this. That we tend to
See, it is believed that India and many of the developing countries have crossed this threshold of 10% by 2013 में ही कर लिया है. But at the same time, the developing countries have a growing population also. They have to feed the growing population. Of course, हमने अपना एक मतलब we have increased our production levels, but at the same time our population is also rising. And 2013 India passed Food Security Act, under which 2/3 of the population has to be fed under that act. So we, of course, we are producing, but at the same time, what is happening? Our demand is also increasing. There are so many people who are below poverty line, or they are not having proper food, so they have to be provided food. So there is this conflict. So what happened? March 2013, just giving you a small historical background of this issue so that you can link it with the current issue. March 2013, under the leadership of India, G33 countries, G33 are developing countries, they have proposed to exempt developing countries from 10% threshold, especially with respect to food security program. ठीक है, लिख लिया? So, अभी आपको प्रीलिम्स में भी एक क्वेश्चन आया था, पीस क्लॉज. That is with respect to that only. So what happened? Developing countries have put forward their demand, and then that peace clause came into picture. What is that peace clause?
4 years.
What is, supposingly if they ask you what is the peace clause, crisply 4 year, 5 year, 6 year, what is it?
Even if the developing countries cross this threshold, they will not develop.
If the developing countries are crossing the threshold of 10%, but at the same time they are doing it to fulfill their food security thing, so they will not be penalized for it. So that is your peace clause. So that was signed. Okay, you can cross the threshold of 10% provided you are doing it for your food security measure. And it is expected to be extended till 2017. 2017 तक extend किया जाएगा. So the issue is India is saying there should be a permanent solution. It should not be like 17 तक है, फिर next what to do, then we will think on that.
The last meeting with
Because it's not, we should not be at the mercy of anyone कि अभी आप कर लो. There should be a proper legal procedure. Okay, इतने साल में खत्म करना है. This should be the deadline. It's not कि अभी आप कर लो. USA is saying कल को मुकर जाए तो. So the issue out. What are the outcomes of Nairobi meet? WTO Nairobi meet के outcomes क्या थे mainly? What special safeguard mechanism क्या? What first thing is remove the export subsidies, abolish export subsidies for farm exports. Developing country को बोला गया 2018 तक हटा देनी है, and especially if it is in the sector of transport, then 2002-03 I think, yeah 2002-03 marketing and transport में subsidy 2023 तक you have to remove it. Then public stock holding for food security purpose, special safeguard mechanism for developing countries related to cotton. So what is the special safeguard mechanism? ये होता क्या है? If they ask you what is it? Import tariffs, import duties to protect the. So now we will analyze the situation, and then on that basis you have to give your answer. You should rather give your answer because now they are saying आप subsidy वगैरह हटा दो and go for direct benefit transfers, cash transfers. So what is India's stand? They are saying subsidies हटाओ and go for direct benefit transfers. See what happened जब WTO बना था जो initial जो भी negotiations हुए थे, that time we were not producing too much, we were not exporting, so we said we will give more weightage to your import duty hike. But at the same time developed countries, they focused more on subsidies and we focused more on our this special safeguard mechanism because हम import करते थे. So, अपने उनको बचाने के लिए for the interest of our farmers, we mainly that time we focused on these things. And at the same time what happened with due process of time, especially after your 2007 onwards, because of domestic subsidies as well as export subsidies, production बढ़ते गया. Our production also started rising. With the changing circumstances, now we have become a food surplus country. Now production बढ़ गया. What we were doing, we were keeping it in our FCI, Food Corporation of India, अपने गोडाउन्स में रख रहे थे. And इतना बढ़ गया, what happened, like बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया तो we have to export it. We exported it. And then developed countries said कि you are using these things and you are exporting it. So this is somehow distorting the international trade. So you should abolish. Now the time has come where you have to abolish these subsidies and go for cash transfers, direct cash benefits as it happens in developed countries. So they are saying India should also go for it. See, ultimately we have to follow this. If they are asking you, are you in favor of cash transfers? तो of course ultimately हम भी developed countries की तरह हो रहे हैं, तो we have to follow that. But right now the situation is we have to ensure our food security and our farmers को भी हमें protect करना है. So completely all of a sudden we cannot go for direct cash transfers. तभी DBT की बहुत सारी schemes government शुरू कर रही है, financial inclusion की बात कर रही, try to link the things. Yeah, so that is why government is talking about these things. At the same time हमारी डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी या जो DBT वगैरह में जो लीकेजेस हैं, जो लूप होल्स हैं, अभी पहले हमको उनको प्रॉपर करना होगा, then only we can go for DBT. So in the meantime certain areas we can go for cash transfer, but at the same time to protect our farmers, कितने farmer suicides हो रहे हैं यहाँ पे, to protect our farmers, to protect our food security, we have to have a balance of both, and in the meantime we have to make our DBT process leakage proof, then only we can go for this thing.
The SSM is restricted to cotton only.
अभी वाला जो नैरोबी में था, read about it, हाँ, उसमें दिया हुआ है. Now the second thing that you talked about, new issues. What happened? Developed countries are saying, let us start some new issues also. New issues means now they are talking about e-commerce, value chains, उनके कुछ standards की बात कर रहे हैं कि we should go for standards in e-commerce, value chains, all those things. New issues, but India is saying let the earlier issues be taken care of first, then only we will go for new issues. India or developing countries are saying this. Why? Because they are taking it as a non-tariff barrier. क्या होगा उन्होंने वो standard, they will be raising the standards and we don't have that quality of standards right now. So हमारे export को बोलेंगे this is not environment friendly, this is because of child labor. ऐसा हुआ है कारपेट इंडस्ट्री में, कई बार कारपेट वापस आए हैं. Even your Alfonso mangoes last year, someone from that particular region, they might ask you questions why they were returned back. Phytosanitary provisions, clauses were there. So they are saying we should take up new issues, but we are saying no, we cannot have these issues right now. First clear the earlier issues and then go for this, because otherwise what will happen, हमारा exports कम होगा and they will have a market. It will act as non-tariff barriers. So this is about your agriculture ka thing. Second thing is your TFA in service sector. TFA is Trade Facilitation Agreement. We have TFAs right now, but only in merchandise sector, not in service sector. And India is having a upper hold in service sector. So we are saying we should go for TFAs in service sector. That will bring more employment, more FDI. Supposingly they ask you, what modes India is proposing? There are 4 modes. Mode 1, Mode 2, Mode 3, Mode 4. Are you all aware of it? Mode 1 is what? Mode 1 is called cross-border supply. India is saying Mode 1 and Mode 4. Mode 1 is cross-border supply. Small example, a doctor sitting in India treating a patient in US through telemedicine, that is your cross-border. Second mode is consumption abroad. Here, doctor sitting in India treating a US national who is staying in Africa. 3 countries are there. Third mode is presence of legal entity. Doctor going from India, setting up a clinic there, establishing, following their legal norms, procedures, then that is your establishing a legal entity. And mode 4 is your movement of natural person. Natural person is what? A doctor who is specialist, say heart specialist, he is going for one particular project there, एक operation करके वहाँ से वापस आ रहा है इंडिया में. He is not following their terms and conditions. He is just going on one particular project. Like dance troops जाते हैं, yoga troops जाते हैं. So there, so many things are. So India is saying we should go for mode 1 and mode 4. So this is the issue that is right now. India is planning to have India is forcing to have TFAs, and also we are planning to, we are promoting, we are trying to have our visa-free travel within WTO countries. What about this solar panel issue? क्या है ये?
Domestic content requirement.
What is domestic content requirement? Domestic content requirement. What is it? Have we lost the case?
Yes.
Once lost, lost forever? We can appeal it. Okay, appeal for it. Appeal against is rather. What is domestic content requirement?
Solar panel.
A certain percentage of solar panel components should be locally manufactured.
Okay. Then there is another term with respect to this controversy is national treatment. What do you mean by national treatment? National treatment means all the member countries have to be treated equally. ये नहीं कि मतलब WTO member countries should be differentiated. Indian और US और Norway कहीं से भी आ रही है, they have to be treated equally on certain parameters. That is your national treatment. So what is the issue? Why we are being accused for not following this national treatment? Of course we are not following it, but why we are being accused? हमने क्या किया solar panel केस में? Okay, see this issue, to understand this issue, you have to think in a wider perspective. Make in India, that is also one angle. Because they will be asking your view, क्योंकि हमने यहाँ, we have not followed this, but you don't have to see the view very myopically. You have to see it from various angles, social and environmental angles. Make in India, our INDC, पेरिस में जो हमने INDC की बात की है, and which project for which we are going for this? National Solar what is what we are going to do under that thing? ओके नहीं, INDC वाला अलग है, बट दिस ये जो सोलर पैनल के लिए जो हमने तब से एग्रीमेंट किया है, तो व्हाट वाज द प्रोजेक्ट विच वाज स्टार्टेड इन 2010 में? नेशनल सोलर मिशन, जवाहरलाल नेहरू नेशनल व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव? इसका क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव है? पहले था 20,000 मेगावाट, बट नाउ इट हैज बीन चेंज्ड 1000 गीगावाट सोलर पैनल टू बी कनेक्टेड टू द ग्रिड बाय 2022 या 100 gigawatt. Did I say 1000? Oh sorry, it is 100 gigawatt. ठीक है. So what is the issue? It is 100 gigawatt. By mistake it came out from my mouth 1000. Please write it 100. So what is the issue? They are saying, USA is saying you are not following the principle of national treatment, and of course हमने कहीं तो किया है गड़बड़. So what is it supposingly if they ask you? See, we don't have to see it only from commercial point of view. First thing is, we have promised about going for renewable source of energy at INDCs. वहाँ पे हमने commitment किया है. We need to have more of renewable energy. At the same time, make in India में भी we are saying come and make in India. We want to increase the employment. And now the question is, why renewable energy production is costly? क्यों costly है? Because इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेटअप करने में टेक्नोलॉजी कॉस्टली है, कंपोनेंट्स कॉस्टली है. सो व्हाट इज द ऑप्शन? ईदर डेवलप इट इंटरनली और इम्पोर्ट इट. सो व्हाट इज अ बेटर ऑप्शन फॉर इंडिया? अपने आप डेवलप करो. सो मेक इन डेवलप करने से आर मेक इन इंडिया इज ऑल्सो समहाउ इट विल गेट अ बूस्ट अगर हम अपने कंपोनेंट्स अपने यहाँ डेवलप करते हैं. सो व्हाट हैपेंड इज कि इट इज बीइंग अक्यूज्ड जो डिस्कॉम्स हैं, डिस्कॉम्स आर नॉट रेडी टू प्रोड्यूस सोलर एनर्जी बिकॉज इट इज वेरी कॉस्टली, एंड दे ऑल्सो वांट सम काइंड ऑफ एश्योरिटी, सम काइंड ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. ओके, हम इतने साल तक प्रोड्यूस करेंगे बट यू विल बी बाइंग इट, गिव अस दैट गारंटी. सो गवर्नमेंट इज सेइंग ओके, यू सेट अप डिस्कॉम्स, you set up these solar energy panels, use our components, and government will be buying that electricity. We will be giving you subsidies. Component भी सस्ते मिलेंगे, subsidies भी आपको मिलेंगी, but your responsibility is to link it with the grids so that हमारा जो INDC का गोल है वो proper हो जाए. We should move on to more renewable energies. So there USA is saying कि आप उनको सब्सिडी भी दे रहे हो, अपने कंपोनेंट भी यूज करवा रहे हो, तो ये गलत है. सो दिस इज द इशू, मेनली दिस इज द इशू. नाउ इंडिया विल बी अपीलिंग अगेंस्ट इट. सो दिस इज राइट नाउ अभी तक की स्टोरी ये है. व्हाट विल हैपन दैट वी हैव टू सी.
Within the domestic requirements, I mean, you mean to say that US and UK should be treated at par, or all the countries should be treated?
Member countries, member WTO countries. जैसे हम MFN की भी बात करते हैं, मोस्ट फेवर्ड नेशन, उसमें भी सारी मेंबर कंट्रीज.
We are not treating as a favorable nation to one nation, right? In this solar panel case.
Actually, जो components हम अपने लगा रहे हैं, they form the major bulk of imports from USA. पहले जो कंपोनेंट्स अभी हम लगा रहे हैं ना, उसमें वो पहले मेजर बल्क ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट्स इंपोर्ट्स आता था यूएसए से. किसको?
किसी भी कंट्री को इस वाले केस.
पहले हमने हम उनको सब्सिडीज भी दे रहे हैं, और अब हम उनको वैसे भी उनसे पावर भी ले रहे हैं हम, तो हर किस्म से हम सब्सिडाइज कर रहे हैं ना. सो दैट इज़ वाई जो जजमेंट आया है ना, उस जजमेंट का भी अगर आप लाइन देखोगे तो उसमें कहा है कि a solar power producer has to satisfy the domestic content requirement, domestically sourced inputs like solar cells, modulars for certain types of solar projects, but government has purchased electricity. सो ये जो जजमेंट में लाइन यूज की गई है, तो दिस इज द लाइन. सो अभी तो दिस इज वन पार्ट ऑफ द स्टोरी. लेट अस सी हाउ इट.
But he is defending in the light that we would be using it for the public purpose. I mean, it would not be treated for the commercial purposes. We would be the one, government officer would be the one who would be using those solar.
तो दिस इज व्हाट अभी आगे चलेगा ना, हम अपील करेंगे ना.
Actually, the government is buying electricity, not the solar panel.
It's only buying the electricity, not the solar panel. Solar.
They are saying why are you giving to the solar?
So that is why India has these arguments with which it will proceed to the WTO issue. Now, these are the issues. Now, few issues which are related with your internal security. Northeast. See, Northeast, if someone is from Northeast, please prepare about it. And at the same time, what is being observed is Northeast पे questions पूछे जाते हैं. What happens when you fill your form, you fill your state, supposingly you are from Haryana, you will fill Haryana, Punjab, all these states, northeastern states बिल्कुल last में. And if they ask you, why have you chosen this? The reply generally everyone gives, sir, I am ready to go anywhere. This is a all India service. Okay, ठीक है, you are ready to go anywhere, everywhere, yes. What do you know about this? And then they start asking some basic questions about Northeast also. So please, Northeast, don't ignore it for your interviews. Northeast is very important. And those who are from these states, they have to prepare it. What is the importance? Why Northeast is important?
Bordering states, bordering states.
International bordering states. Okay, which are the countries that surround Northeast? China, Myanmar, Bhutan, Bangladesh. Okay. What else? Why it is important? One is your international borders there. It is a gateway to Southeast Asia. Look east, far east. These policies. Gateway to Southeast Asia. Economically also, it has great significance. Oil, gas, Assam, hydroelectricity. Then they are like agriculture के लिए भी. Now we are talking about second green revolution or organic agriculture. We are promoting it in Northeast. So that way, strategically, economically, Northeast is very important. Connectivity, okay. Then connectivity से Sagarmala, Bharatmala project is there. Bharatmala, right from your गुजरात से नॉर्थ ईस्ट तक जाता है कनेक्टिविटी के लिए न्यू प्रोजेक्ट. ओके, सी नॉर्थ ईस्ट हर स्टेट में हर प्रॉब्लम है, अलग अलग सी प्रॉब्लम है. And the content that you have got, every state problem has been discussed there, but we will be taking up the issue which were in news currently. ठीक है, the topics that were in news, because otherwise each state will take 2-3 days. Okay, what are the main challenges or main conflicts in Northeast?
Geographical isolation, and because of it mainstreaming of culture and the economy.
Insurgency, okay. See, अगर आपको पूछेंगे कि what are the main conflicts, तो you can just sum them up like national conflict. एक तो वो अपने अलग separate country बनाने की बात करते हैं, like Bodoland और this Greater Nagaland. One conflict is there. Then second is your ethnic conflict. Always a conflict between minority tribes and majority politically, culturally strong tribes. That is also always going on there. जो कि अभी हमारा inner line permit issue भी आया था. We will be discussing that. ILP. Then एक हमारा वहाँ पे conflict है, सब regional conflict भी है. Sub regional conflict means they are fighting, tribals are fighting with either the state or autonomous councils के साथ वहाँ पे fight करते हैं. Okay, whenever you are reading about Northeast, please make sure 6th schedule should be very clear to you. क्योंकि वहाँ जो क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं ना, वो नॉर्थ ईस्ट से सीधा 6th शेड्यूल में पहुँचते हैं आपके. 5th and 6th schedules should be very clear because many of the solutions come out of those schedules. So what are the main reasons why people are fighting? One is large migration in this area. बांग्लादेश से बहुत सारे आए, और एरिया से बहुत सारे आए. So when the people migrate to these areas, they think locals are very afraid of them. They think they might one day turn us into minorities, or they will take over our customs, cultures, employment. So that is why they have that xenophobia. Word is used, no, xenophobia kind of a thing, कि मतलब they are very scared of the migrants. Then another issue is there is lack of development in Northeast. Then that is there. Then international border is there, and which is very porous. Now what happens to international borders? आपके arms, ammunitions, drugs. When we are talking about drugs, then golden triangle, golden precinct. Please prepare कर लो. When you are talking about drugs and if someone is from Punjab, then Punjab के उसमें भी घुस जाएंगे कि why there is a drug problem in that area. So try to link the issues. Then difficult terrain. Terrain is very difficult. That is why one of the basic causes of less development of infrastructure is because the terrain is not developed. And another main issue is human right violation. Armed force special. This is a big issue. Are you aware of this? This comes under polity. Please इसको पढ़ भी लेना. When you are reading about Northeast, can you name that lady? Irom Sharmila. Who is she? More than 50. Read about her. Now what are the linkages with external factors? ये तो हमारे इंटरनल बात हो गई नॉर्थ ईस्ट की. व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग एंड हाउ वी कैन लिंक इट विद IR, एक्सटर्नल फैक्टर्स. See what happens, like नॉर्थ ईस्ट में if you see the communities there, उनके कस्टम्स ट्रेडिशंस क्रॉस बॉर्डर बहुत मिलते हैं. म्यांमार में आप देखो बहुत सारे लोगों के कस्टम ट्रेडिशन कल्चर क्रॉस बॉर्डर, दे हैव अ वेरी क्लोज रिलेशनशिप. They have affinity with their kith and kin groups there. So though they might be staying geographically here, but culturally they think they are more close to them. So that is one issue. And now if we see with respect to the countries, how they sponsor or how they promote terrorism, first is your China. जितनी भी नॉर्थ ईस्ट में ट्राइब्स हैं, मोस्ट ऑफ देम, मैक्सिमम ऑफ देम एक्सेप्ट खासीज एंड जैंतियास, दे आर हैविंग मोंगोलाइड ओरिजिन. एंथ्रोपोलॉजी इस बार बहुत बच्चों को एंथ्रोपोलॉजी से हुआ है ना, क्लियर? दे हैव मोंगोलाइड ओरिजिन. सो people naturally feel that ethnic and cultural ties with those people. And China has been supporting इंसर्जेंसी सिंस 1960s. आज से नहीं है, 1960s से कर रहा है. 1966 में नागा अप्रोच पीपल्स रिपब्लिक ऑफ चाइना टू हेल्प देम, एंड दे हेल्प देम इन बाय ट्रेनिंग इन गुरिल्ला वॉर्स, माओइज्म, आर्म्स, एम्यूशंस, वो सारी ट्रेनिंग उन्होंने दी वहाँ पे. दे ऑल्सो सपोर्ट मीजोज एंड मैथीज, मैथी कम्युनिटी, ILP, main community, inner line permit में we will discuss that. So they help, उनको भी ट्रेनिंग देते हैं गुरिल्ला वगैरह में 1960s में. Then another issue with China is unmetalled road construction, which is almost nearing our border in Arunachal. What is that? LOC or LAC? LAC. उसके पास में एक unmetalled road, वहाँ तक वो लेके आए हैं. बट सिंस 1980s 1990s से चाइना हैज़ क्लेम्ड कि भैया अब हम ज़्यादा इसमें इंटरफेयर नहीं करते हैं, वी आर नॉट हेल्पिंग देम और सपोर्टिंग देम, बट इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू बिलीव, सो वी हैव टू बी वेरी कॉशियस. अच्छा, अरुणाचल से एक और इशू आता है, स्टेपल्ड वीजा, IFS प्रायोरिटीज. व्हाट इज अ स्टेपल्ड वीजा? कौन कौन सी स्टेट्स के लिए चाइना स्टेपल्ड वीजा देता है? What is it? Read about it. Stapled visa. Then second country is your Bhutan, so called a very peaceful country, but lots of insurgents from India are staying there. Second is your Bhutan. Migration from Assam, mainly many of the porous border है वहाँ पे, काफ़ी migration militants they migrate from Assam, and government of India had in 1990 फ्लश आउट करने के लिए मिलिटेंट्स को दे हैड स्टार्टेड वन ऑपरेशन, ऑपरेशन राइनो एंड ऑपरेशन बजरंग. उसके बाद अप्रोक्सीमेटली 4000 कैडर्स ऑफ उल्फा बोडो मिलिटेंट्स दे आर स्टेइंग इन सदर्न भूटान.
But the Royal Bhutanese Army.
अभी हम स्टेप बाय स्टेप कर रहे हैं.
नहीं, it helped actually in flushing out the insurgents.
We will be doing that. That operation is operation all clear that you are talking about. So what happened? How people moved to Bhutan? Mainly जब ये हमारा ऑपरेशन बजरंग एंड ऑपरेशन राइनो हुआ था, तो बहुत सारे उल्फा के आपके और बोडो मिलिटेंट्स दे वेंट एंड दे स्टेड इन. दे आर स्टिल हैविंग सम काइंड ऑफ बेसिस देयर इन सदर्न भूटान. बट भूटान गवर्नमेंट, the Royal Army of Bhutan has been very supportive, and they have also started operation all clear in 2003 and 2004, जिसमें कि उन्होंने बहुत सारे militants को वहाँ से flush out किया था. And recently 2015 में they have also again assured us we will be doing a similar kind of operation to flush out the remaining militants. स्पेशली अभी जो है वहाँ पे KLO है, कमतापुर लिबरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. कमतापुर इज रिलेटेड विद योर असम. रीड अबाउट इट, डिफरेंट है वहाँ पे. देन व्हेन इट कम्स टू नेपाल, पोरस बॉर्डर है. इट इज मेनली यूज बाय ISI टू एक्सपोर्ट मिलिटेंट्स फ्रॉम दैट पोरस बॉर्डर टू इंडिया. काउंटरफेट नोट्स वहाँ से बहुत आते हैं. एंड व्हाट कैन यू डू यू रिकॉल दैट कंधार एयरलाइन वाला जो हुआ था वो काठमांडू से ही हाईजैक हुआ था. बट नेपाल आर्मी भी हमें कोऑपरेट करती है, बट स्टिल ISI बहुत यूज करता है. ये कब हाईलाइट हुआ? याकूब मेनन केस, वहीं से आया था याकूब मेनन. वहीं पे उन्होंने क्या किया था, ठीक है. तो याकूब मेनन वाले केस से ये ज़्यादा हाईलाइट हुआ था, और याकूब मेनन अभी न्यूज़ में भी था. ओके, नाउ बांग्लादेश. जो आपके मीजो इंसर्जेंट्स है ना, वो बेसिकली चिट्टागोंग एरिया, चिट्टागोंग हिल एरिया इज देयर, वहां पे है ये. इवन पाकिस्तान ISI वहां से बहुत सारे ऑपरेशन चैनलाइज करता है इंडिया के लिए. Chakma problems in Mizoram. Chakma in the last lecture we discussed about Chakmas. Who are Chakmas migrants? Government of India has last year to some of them we have given citizenship also. Then Ulfa ने तो वहाँ पे बहुत सारी economic activities भी start कर दी हैं. They have opened drug stores, driving schools, hotels and all to get the fund to invade in these states. But with Bangladesh, read about that land border agreement 2015. Read about that. I think you know. And the basic thing, what is enclave, what is conclave, what is counter enclave, साथ कर लेना, because when you talk, you say something about that, they might ask you a question. When it comes to Myanmar, Myanmar के साथ हमारी boundary approximately 200 kilometer maritime boundary we share with Myanmar, and land border approximately 1670 kilometer we are sharing with Myanmar. So Myanmar is very important. And वहाँ पे जो tribals हैं, they are basically तिब्बतो बर्मीज स्टॉक के हैं, जो कि हमारे से काफ़ी रिजेंबल करते हैं, जो इस साइड के इंसर्जेंट्स हैं. Many of them who are staying here across the border here, they feel that they are more close to the people across the border at Myanmar. एंड हमारे इंसर्जेंट्स उधर रहते, उनके भी कुछ इंसर्जेंट्स इंडिया में पाए गए हैं. आर यू अवेयर ऑफ दैट? कुकी चिन ग्रुप, मणिपुर, मिजोरम एक्सेट्रा, इन दीज एरियाज में दे हैव बीन स्टेइंग. बट नाउ रिसेंट थिंग इन न्यूज इज कि अभी अग्रीमेंट साइन हुए हैं फॉर नारकोटिक्स, स्मगलिंग, इन सबको रिड्यूस करने के लिए, इंफॉर्मेशन शेयरिंग के लिए, जॉइंट कोऑपरेशन ऑफ द आर्मीज टू फ्लश आउट द इंसर्जेंट्स. अब नाउ अगर आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछते, अच्छा नाउ वी विल डिस्कस ILP, इनर लाइन परमिट. What is inner line permit? It started in the, if they ask you a question in
Permission
you,
is required from the local region to enter into that region.
what is inner line permit? See what kind of questions can be asked. What is inner line permit? Do you think in a country like India, do we need some kind of permit to go to some other region? Because this ILP issue was in news when there was talks about abolishing Article 370. So they have given that argument, when you can have ILPs, then why can't we cannot continue with 370? So question can be, do you think is it justifiable to travel within India with ILPs?
No, finally no.
So why we are having ILP? Abhi, how many states are having ILP? Which all states? Mizoram, Nagaland, Arunachal. So why are we having it? ये तो ब्रिटिश टाइम में था. Why did British introduce this?
To protect their culture.
British introduced mainly to protect their that oil and tea. वहाँ कोई और आउटसाइडर नहीं आ जाए, तो उन्होंने इन एरियाज में ILP लगा दिया. But now we are continuing it because we want to protect the culture of tribals in these areas. That is why ILP is still there. Okay, so what is ILP? If you want one line definition, it's an official travel document issued by Government of India to grant inward travel गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. यहाँ से लेके जाना पड़ता है उनके भवन से, और वहाँ जाके आप दिखाते हो फिर उनको. बिकॉज अगर आप यहाँ से लेके नहीं जाते हो, कई बार वो वहाँ से आपको वापस भेज देते हैं. इशूड बाय गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया टू ग्रांट इनवर्ड ट्रैवल ऑफ इंडियन सिटीजन इनटू अ प्रोटेक्टेड एरिया फॉर अ लिमिटेड पीरियड. बंगाल ईस्ट फ्रंटियर रेगुलेशन 1873. Under this regulation, the concept of ILP came into being. Bengal East Frontier Regulation 1873. Mainly to protect their oil and tea, they introduced it.
About the foreign nationals, if they are to go to this place, like the same procedure or something else.
Same ILP लेना पड़ता है. अच्छा, now the question is, if they ask you, give an answer like constitutionally और legally बताओ ये क्यों नहीं possible है ILP मणिपुर में लगाना. तो वहाँ बाकी जगह नहीं हो रही है फंडामेंटल राइट की वायलेशन. सी 1950s में ये मणिपुर से हटा दिया गया था. इट वॉज रिवोक्ड फ्रॉम मणिपुर इन 1950s and Manipur became a state in 1972 and officially Manipur is not a tribal state. जिन एरियाज में है वो ट्राइबल स्टेट्स हैं. मणिपुर इज नॉट अ ट्राइबल स्टेट. Therefore, constitutional challenge to apply it in Manipur. You should know why it was introduced, why government is continuing it, why, what is the constitutionally, why it can't be implied in Manipur. So what is the issue? Who are the main tribes? Meiteis are there, Nagas are there, Kukis are there. 3 main tribes. Meiteis are saying it should be implemented because they take Kukis and Nagas as someone coming from outside. They take them as foreigners. So Meiteis are saying this ILP should be implemented so that they can have the say on the land and property rights should be with Meiteis, and at the same time government jobs, employment opportunities can be, they should have a upper hand on that. But the other people, your Kukis and Nagas, they are saying अगर ऐसा हो जाएगा तो हम तो यहाँ minority में हो जाएंगे. Who is going to listen to us? We have been staying here for ages and we are not able to buy a piece of land here. It's not justifiable in a country like India. How can we be considered as outsiders here? So that is the main tussle. So what is the government stand? Is it solved or is it still going on? अभी भी वहाँ पे solution नहीं हुआ है. Though government state assembly has passed 3 bills to give more rights to Meiteis. They have given more rights to Meiteis. So now the question is, the big question is, अगर आपसे पूछा जाए कि supposingly you are posted as an administrator there, you know this is the ground reality. Constitutionally, it's not a tribal state. Meiteis, they want ILP. Kukis and Nagas who are staying there for so long, how can they be just thrown out in one day as labeling them as foreigners? So supposingly you have to take a decision. What will you do? Suggest a solution.
The main reason is economic problems. They feel that their employment opportunities, they create more.
Long-term solution would be whatever. Short-term.
See, some rights अगर कुकीज़ के जैसे स्टेट लेजिस्लेशन ने दिए, बट एट द सेम टाइम 6th शेड्यूल के अंदर मोर ऑटोनॉमी कैन बी गिवन टू कुकीज़ एंड नागास. That's why I said whenever you are dealing with Northeast, please 6th schedule, 5th schedule, because जो वहाँ ब्यूरोक्रेट्स बैठे होते हैं उनमें से कोई ना कोई कभी ना कभी वहाँ काम किया होता है उन्होंने, and these schedules are on their tips and they want you also to know the tips, you also to know the things on your tips. They ask you questions because Northeast is one area जहाँ पे हम बात तो करते हैं ऑल इंडिया सर्विस की, but we generally neglect it and they want to test you there only. पता है वो तो आप बता दोगे, they know कि यहाँ पे बच्चे फंसते हैं and they start asking questions on these issues. So please read 6th schedule properly. You can give an answer कि okay, we can have like certain rights to the Meiteis because it is followed in these states. Based on that we can provide certain rights, but at the same time if 6th schedule is properly implemented, more autonomy can be given to these other 2 tribes also.
And I'm also one more thing, even if it gets implemented, like they're saying the cutoff date to decide who is belongs to Manipur and who doesn't was 1960 or something, whether the Nagas and Kukis were being excluded because they came afterwards. So they're saying that even if the strength.
You can build your argument. Now another thing that was in news is Naga Accord. See, Naga Accord ka details nobody knows because it has not been made public by the government. Who are Nagas? Naga sadhu bhi hote hain. Who are Nagas? Acha, what percentage of population they have in India? Approximately 0.1% of Indian population. But problem kitni badi hai? Inhabitants, they are inhabitants of Naga Hills along northeast frontier on Assam and Burma border. So Naga insurgency कब से है? If they ask you, is it a new thing? कब से है ये insurgency नागालैंड में? Historical 1881 से है. Sorry, 1918 से 1881 में नागालैंड came under the part of British India and 1918 में एक नागा क्लब फॉर्म हुआ था which told Simon Commission, please let us be alone and let us decide our own fate ourselves. We don't want to be part of the British India. 1946 में नागा नेशनल काउंसिल NNC फॉर्म हुआ था अंडर अंगामी जापू पिज़ो. 1951 में NNC जो नागा नेशनल काउंसिल है, इट conducted a referendum where 99% of the people said like they should have a separate Naga state. Armed rebellion 1952 से स्टार्ट हुआ है एंड 1958 में वहां पे AFSPA लगा है. ये थोड़ा सा जस्ट बैकग्राउंड, बाकी तो आप ढूंढोगे सब जगह मिल जाएगा. अच्छा, वन थिंग आई वुड सजेस्ट, ये जो WTO इश्यूज है ना, इसमें अरविंद सुब्रमण्यम का बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल है. हु इज अरविंद सुब्रमण्यम? उनका एक अच्छा आर्टिकल है. अशोक गुलाटी का एक अच्छा आर्टिकल है. अशोक गुलाटी वॉज हेडिंग द टीम जो कि MSP वगैरह डिसाइड करते हैं. ही इज अ वेरी रिनाउंड पर्सन. वो आर्टिकल से प्लीज थोड़ा पढ़ना और कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर हो जाएंगे. नागा पीस अकॉर्ड 2015 में अभी हुआ है. व्हाट आर द मेन ग्राउंड्स ऑन विच वी हैव लाइक बोथ द साइड्स हैव said okay to? How do we recognize Nagaland now? It is said like they will be given priority. They are being. It is based on the unique historical, cultural, and sentiment and aspirations of Nagaland. ये है क्या क्या, ये अभी डिटेल पब्लिक डोमेन में गवर्नमेंट ने नहीं दिया है. एंड दे हैव सेड लाइक दे विल withdraw the demand for Greater Nagaland and they will abide by Constitution of India and no alteration of the existing boundaries. Basically उनको historically, culturally उनको recognize किया है.
This is Naga Lim issue.
What is Greater Naga Lim area?
Parts of Sri between the Nagaland as well as Arunachal Pradesh and Manipur also.
Assam, Arunachal, Manipur, including your Nagaland, plus some tracts of your Myanmar is also there. Has Nagaland Assembly ever endorsed this Greater Nagaling? Has Manipur Assembly ever endorsed? Naga Assembly ever endorsed it? 2015 में भी किया है, 5 बार किया अभी तक. 5 times, 64, 1970, 1994. It has endorsed the demand of Greater Nagaland in 1964, 1970, 1994, 2003 and 2015. Okay, another issue, it might skip out of my mind. When they are asking you something about, they might ask you what is त्रिपुरा मॉडल. त्रिपुरा में भी बहुत इंसर्जेंसी थी, लेकिन वहां पे बहुत अच्छे से डेवलपमेंट हो गई, शांति है. देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ पीस इन त्रिपुरा. सो why can't we follow Tripura model in other states? They might ask you. So read about Tripura. Mr. Manik Sarkar, the chief minister, what initiatives he has taken. कभी भी टॉक्स जो थी वो कभी भी ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि दे हैव ऑलवेज पुट अ काइंड ऑफ कंडीशन कि वंस द इंसर्जेंसी स्टॉप्ड ओनली देन वी विल गो फॉर टॉक. साइमल्टेनियसली टॉक्स होती रही, मीडिया को मैनेज किया, इन्फिल्ट्रेशन की बात हुई, डेवलपमेंट हुई, इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट हुई, सोशल रिकॉग्निशन हुई. सो रीड अबाउट दैट मॉडल, त्रिपुरा मॉडल.
Has the main party involved in this, the NSDN, has it given its demand for the Nagalim altogether?
अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस अभी के लिए तो दे दिया है. ऐसे तो कई बार होते हैं उनके.
But other tribes have not, they're not involved in it, so the issue is yet.
That's why it's not even come up. Another security issue, which is because maximum of you are engineers going for interview. Maximum of you are engineers with IT, communication and all those background, IPS, चॉइस भी रहती है IPS वगैरह की. सो व्हाट obvious क्वेश्चन इज योर साइबर सिक्योरिटी. साइबर सिक्योरिटी दैट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक. प्लीज जो जा रहे हैं इंटरव्यू के लिए इसको अच्छे से प्रिपेयर कर लो. इसमें 2-3 डिबेट्स चल रहे हैं आजकल, दैट वी विल डिस्कस. व्हाई इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट? बिकॉज डिजिटल इंडिया प्रोग्राम, NEGP across the world, the whole governance, economic development, everything is now fit within datas. हर जगह हम datas की बात करते हैं, ठीक है, इंटरनेट की बात करते हैं, बोलते भी IT ने पूरे वर्ल्ड को एक ग्लोबल विलेज बना दिया है. सो दैट इज वाई दिस थिंग इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. देयर आर 2-3 terms. One is your cyber espionage, cyber crime, cyber terrorism and cyber warfare. These are some basic things which they might ask. So what is cyber? First thing, cyber espionage, spying करते हैं जैसे snooping. What are the, they might ask you what are the tools they use. Spyware, Trojan horse, क्या क्या है ना, read about it. I know you all know that. Second thing is your cyber crime. And within cyber crime, it can be either cyber terrorism or cyber warfare. So what is cyber terrorism and what is cyber warfare? जब कोई कंट्री इन्वॉल्व हो जाती है दूसरी कंट्री में, what is war? War is between 2 countries. Similarly, when जब साइबर स्पेस में 2 कंट्रीज इन्वॉल्व हो जाती हैं, then it becomes warfare. And what is terrorism? जैसे कि टेररिस्ट एक्टिविटीज के लिए टू क्रिएट काइंड ऑफ अ टेरर, स्टेट एजेंसीज इन्वॉल्व नहीं होती, जनरली इट इज बाय अ नॉन स्टेट एक्टर. बट व्हेन इट इज अ वॉर, वॉर इज बिटवीन कंट्रीज. व्हाट आर द मोड्स, कैसे कैसे अटैक करते हैं इसमें? सपोजली वो पूछा, अच्छा साइबर वॉरफेयर की बात करते हैं, अटैक कैसे करते हैं? सिमेंटिक अटैक इज देयर. व्हाट नेक्स्ट?
Physical attack.
सिंथेटिक अटैक्स. फिजिकल अटैक इज जला दिया, बम फेंक दिया, कुछ कर दिया, दैट इज योर फिजिकल अटैक. देन देयर इज सिंटैक्टिक. सिंटैक्टिक मतलब कंप्यूटर का ब्रेन ही खराब कर देते, लॉजिक ऑफ द कंप्यूटर को डिस्टर्ब कर देते हैं. सो इट बिकम्स हाईली अनप्रिडिक्टेबल. सिंटैक्टिक. एंड semantic word related with your language, information without your knowledge, input output change कर देते हैं. that is very dangerous. supposedly आप कुछ लिख करके गए हो, मैं उसमें चेंज कर दूं, वो वैसे ही रख दूं, तो that is something very dangerous. this is okay. what is the unique about this warfare? because यहाँ पे क्या है कि you cannot डिसगाइज्ड होता है, यू कैनॉट प्रिडिक्ट कि इसने मारा है. टेररिस्ट आर यूजिंग इट लाइक एनीथिंग. अभी कल के पेपर में आई वाज रीडिंग इंडियन एक्सप्रेस में वन ऑफ आवर साइट्स हैव बीन हैक्ड बाय IS. यस. why need to be like now the question is why should India prepare for this? Is any other country preparing for this cyber warfare? China is, what does China call its program? Informationalization. Information and nationalization. Informationalization. US calls it the 5th domain of warfare. 5th domain, land, air, water, space, and 5th domain of warfare. Even South Korea has cyber warfare command. British and France, they have cyber force, so why should India lag behind? एक जो डिबेट आपसे पूछा जा सकता है कि वेदर द इंटरनेशनल लॉज ऑफ द डिबेट चल रही है, वेदर इंटरनेशनल लॉज ऑफ वॉर कैन बी अप्लाइड टू साइबर वॉरफेयर. दिस इज अ बिकॉज नाउ इट इज कंसिडर्ड अ फुल फ्लेज्ड वॉर, बट डू यू थिंक इंटरनेशनल लॉज should be aligned to this?
Because of its ambiguity and disguisedness, it would be very difficult to trace, and moreover there would be non-state actors involved in it. So on a large scale we cannot.
एक तो ये कि डिस्गाइज्ड होता है और एक और होता है बहुत डायरेक्ट नहीं होता है, थ्रू कंप्यूटर टू कंप्यूटर टू कंप्यूटर वायरस आपका पास ऑन होता है. तो जो वॉरफेयर के जो लॉज होते हैं, नॉर्मल वॉर के लॉज होते हैं, इट कैन नॉट बी अप्लाइड टू दिस, बट एट द सेम टाइम वी डू नीड टू ब्रिंग इन सर्टेन, it should be brought under certain laws because lot of stake of all the countries is involved in it. हमने कोई प्रोग्राम इनिशिएटिव किया है साइबर वॉरफेयर के लिए? कैपेसिटी डेवलपमेंट कर रहे हैं हम, डिजिटल आर्मी प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं हम लोग, क्रिटिकल इंफॉर्मेशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलप कर रहे हैं, नेशनल साइबर पॉलिसी प्लीज पढ़ लेना. अच्छा ना, ये तो पढ़ लोगे, कहीं भी मिल जाएगा. अगर क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं कैन आर्मी यूज डिजिटल इंडिया प्रोग्राम, बहुत सारे लोगों के उसमें एनडीए भरा होता है ना, कौन सा पहले यूपीएससी का एग्जाम दिया, एनडीए या कुछ डिफेंस का होता है, दे माइट आस्क यू कैन आर्मी यूज डिजिटल इंडिया प्रोग्राम? गिव मी लॉजिक इफ नॉट. सी व्हाट हैपेंस जब हम सिविल कोई चीज यूज करते हैं सिविल प्लेटफॉर्म पे, तो थिंग्स आर इम्प्लीमेंटेड फर्स्ट, फिर जैसे जैसे प्रॉब्लम आती है अकॉर्डिंगली वी फाइंड आउट द सोल्यूशन. सिक्योरिटी उसके बाद हम ढूंढते हैं, ऐसा होता है ना, पहले इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं एंड देन वी फाइंड इट ओके सिक्योरिटी जो इश्यूज आ रहे हैं हाउ टू फेस इट. बट इन केस ऑफ आर्मी सिक्योरिटी इज फर्स्ट इशू, तो पहले हमें हर चीज़ों को सिक्योर करना होगा, देन ओनली वी कैन इम्प्लीमेंट द थिंग्स. सो दैट इज वाई वर्ल्ड ओवर जनरली दिस इज सीन अ ट्रेंड कि इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी में आर्मी सिविलियन टेक्नोलॉजी से थोड़ा सा पीछे होती है, बिकॉज यहाँ पे ट्राई एंड टेस्ट मेथड होता है, वहाँ पे यू कैन डू दैट. These kind of questions, tricky questions they might ask you. Then how smart cities and cyber threats can be related? They might ask you what is a smart city? Okay, you are an IT engineer, tell us what are the threats of cyber security issues with smart cities? Hack हो सकती है आपकी cities, पूरी की पूरी सिटी डिसफंक्शनल हो सकती है, ट्रैफिक आपका बिल्कुल, ट्रैफिक लाइट्स खत्म हो गई, आपको नहीं पता, कई जगह गार्बेज डिस्पोजल भी आपका इससे हैंडल होता है, दैट कांट बी डन. जस्ट थिंक ओवर इट. दीज आर द क्वेश्चंस दे माइट आस्क यू. हम सिक्योरिटी की बात कर रहे हैं, तो एक और छोटा सा आर्म फोर्स मॉडर्नाइजेशन. आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछते, डू यू थिंक इंडियन आर्म फोर्स नीड मॉडर्नाइजेशन? गिव मी रीजंस. यस तो है, बट गिव मी रीजंस. Old artillery, half of our submarines have already lived up to 3/4 of their lives. एक तो वो है, मतलब हमारी कितने मिग क्रैश हो रहे हैं, कितने एरोप्लेन्स फाइटर प्लेन्स क्रैश हो रहे हैं. सो ओल्ड आर्टिलरी. सेकेंड थिंग इज व्हाट, बहुत सारे हमारे क्रिटिकल डिफेंस के जो डील्स हैं, जैसे रफाल वगैरह ले लो, कितने टाइम से अभी तक नहीं हुई हैं. सो दे माइट आस्क यू व्हाई इट हैज नॉट हैपेंड. एक तो कई बार मनी क्रंच होता है, कई बार पॉलिटिकल डिसीजन वो नहीं ले पाते, कई बार ब्यूरोक्रेटिक हर्डल्स होता है, तो बहुत सारे जो हमारे डिसीजंस हैं वो स्टिल दे आर पेंडिंग. एट द सेम टाइम अभी सियाचिन के उससे भी इशू आया था कि इज इट, डिबेट आ रहा है कि इज इट feasible, is it मतलब actually required to keep armies at that higher place? Can't we have 1 or 2 posts and use technology to do the surveillance in that area? So अगर हमारे पास technologies होगी, then only we can do that. They might ask you questions. इंडिया का डिफेंस एक्सपेंडिचर कितना है पर कैपिटा के हिसाब से देखा जाए तो अप्रॉक्सीमेटली $25 और वर्ल्ड का $217. Another question they might be asked is FDI in defense. Give reasons for FDI in defense. First, yes. Give me reasons for yes. Technology transfer, okay. Domestic capabilities, more employment, more FDI, money आएगा तो वो इकॉनमी में जाएगा या सेल्फ रिलायंस हो जाएगा हमारा. Firms, supposingly if we are giving more FDI to them, they can invest here, they will have kind of develop a confidence in us, or sophisticated technologies can also be transferred. India can become a home market. बहुत सारे positives हैं, but why it is why they are saying no? Reliance हो जाता है, मतलब you depend on them, and at the time of war या conflict के time पे they might just push back their hands. Example, जैसे GPS टेक्नोलॉजी जब इराक के ऊपर अटैक किया था, USA ने अपनी GPS टेक्नोलॉजी देने से मना कर दिया था उनको. ठीक है, ये तो आप कर लोगे. एंड एक और चीज़ विच यू कैन प्रिपेयर जो थोड़ी आपकी पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन या पॉलिटी एंड इससे रिलेट होती है, दैट इज शुड like you be a journalist made a secretary in the Ministry of Defense, journalist versus specialist debate. Prepare that because you all are applying for a position which is a journalist position. आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछ सकते हैं कि आपको क्यों रखे, why not like in UK where we have specialists, why should you be posted there? So think on this. Multiple aspects, because of this thing many of the things modernization has not been happening. One of the reasons is this also, so think on this. ठीक है, and further if you have any doubts, any more issues, please tell me, and you can come to me in the office also. You can give me a call, those who are having interviews. And now Mayank, he will be taking your environmental issues.